There are a number of points which we have to realize. We see around the Keshe Foundation people who have been around the foundation, and now they see by establishing different setup and organizations that they can financially benefit. They're using the gas technology and nanotechnology. They deny everything because we have told them they cannot use, sell anything without certification. Now they deny even the knowledge belongs to the foundation. It's good, at least others will benefit by it, but we know what happened to those who denied the others and what happened to them the way it happened. It's good to understand the technology, spread it, teach it, and if you want to claim it, you can claim it. There is no problem, because at the end of the day, the benefits of it counts, not who claims what. This comes from lack of understanding, and we've seen many people have done this in past 2 or 3 years, coming to the foundation, learning, and then claiming. This is going to happen a lot, and we've seen many of them are actually struggling to live at the moment in different shape and form with what they've done. This should be, we should give from our souls to elevate them, that they use the knowledge the correct way to elevate the others. In so many ways, those of you who are going into or selling goods, governments or authorities do not mind cottage industry. You can sell a soap here, a soap there. But if you're going into mass production in selling quantity, then you're on the watch. We are working with the governmental organizations to bring some orders to these things. And the certification will come through us. It'll take us under 6 months, 12 months to put everything in order, that we can transfer our certifications from one country to another. But those of you who are producing materials, please make sure you reach certification. There are people who've been around foundation and are selling goods uncertified. You're playing with your what you call production lines when there is no certification, and you have to be careful. Do not sell ganses, do not buy ganses from people who just advertise on the internet, selling gans without certification number. There are a number of people selling all sorts of things like this. These have to be certified. If you see them, you're quite okay to report them to authorities on the internet and to the local authorities for the product to be checked. This is not to block anyone, this is to be correct. We've seen people who've been members of different part of the Keshe Foundation and now they've set up selling goods. Please do not sell goods if you do not have self-certification or FDA certification. And we advise those of you who see it on the internet, report them to the authorities. They could be using internet, report it to the internet organizations to shut these things down, because they bring us problems in the future. Keshe Foundation products, anywhere we sell, is fully certified. Anything comes from Accra, anything comes from Italy, anything comes from any other organizations which needs certification, has to have certification. We have to be law abiding. We cannot break the law. So please make sure you see on the internet, inform the people there is no certification. This is how we have to monitor, and a lot of people who we have asked them to monitor now, they claim they know this from somewhere, or they've done something else, nothing to do with the foundation. They've changed the wording on their websites. This will not stop. We will start collaborating with the organizations said this before, to monitor these things. We inform, you have to inform yourself of what product is where. A lot of these products are made in the back of the kitchens or whatever, has to be certified. We help you, we support you to get certification wherever it's possible, but you cannot sell products without certification. As one nation, we have to, at this moment, combine our works with authorities to bring these certifications into operation. And we've seen many people, the minute we tell them they have to withdraw the material or cannot use the name of the Keshe Foundation because it's illegal selling products which are not certified, then they go against the foundation, attacking and saying it's all their knowledge. That's good, we respect that. If it's your knowledge, is good. But you cannot sell things by change of words, and we work with authorities to certify things that it's easier for people in the coming time to be able to work. There's a lot of works going in the background. We are here to serve and not to be served. What does this mean? This means a very, very simple fact. When you have a soul which is of a higher strength, all you need to do, you need to find a condition, a position, where by giving from your soul lead to conversion of the fields, that in that process, the residual field becomes the food for physicality, conformation of the existence. So, if you go back to the other part of the teachings we did, we always said the stronger plasma, the bigger plasma always feeds, gives to the lowest strength and gives to the smaller for them to elevate to the higher level, that they become balanced. That the what I give, you take what you take, what I don't need, and I take what you don't need. And this process should have become understood. It's the process of feeding. This is how you feed. This is how you absorb energy from the space of the environment when you're in deep space. There are no cows, there are no steaks, there are no kangaroos roast, and there are no beef burgers and hamburgers and ketchups. But you have to learn how you absorb energy from the space of the universe. You can absorb if you have somewhere to give to. This is the ethos of the understanding of a life in the universe. You cannot just get, you have to be able to give, that you have a space to receive, and in that process, what you do not need of the higher or lower order you give. So, to be able to feed the body of the man as any entity looking 10 legs, 20 arms, 14 eyes, or whatever in one position, and no legs and a fish life in another, or become the totality of the plasma floating in the space of the universe, all need a point of feed, a point of giving. And in that process of giving, what is the residual become the food to the soul of the man. Now you understand the ethos of the teaching of the foundation. We are here to serve and not to be served. Because in space, you cannot absorb if you cannot give. Because there is no flow through. And in that process of giving, what comes to you to give becomes the food for the soul of the man. It becomes then in interaction and the direction of the lower strength, the physicality of the man. In fact, you give from what you become your food from space to create your own physicality. If need be, if the interaction with the environmental field strength decided to be. You got to remember something very, very interesting. There is a lot of teachings in the present time which is actually comes through the lack of understanding. Is that we say in this process of life, we go on a DNA and RNA. There is a physical DNA, a physical RNA, but there is a planetary and RNA too, which that dictates what is needed on this planet. All the time it says on DNA and RNA, we have 2 kidneys, 1 liver, we have 1 processing, we have 2 eyes. But you have to understand that the information about the creation of such a system is embedded in the structure of the soul of the RNA of this planet. When you are born, when you are conceived in the womb of the mother, you see, they say this comes, this is part of RNA to do with the gene this, that. But they have not understood there is a field force effect which has become part of the structure of the life on this planet, which is the RNA and DNA of this planet. Which in interaction, in its existence, enforces life in the conditions that we see. Sensory vision, 2 eyes. Sensory touch, disposal units. These all have come. In a very good example of this is what we see in the rivers. We see there is no more life, and after rain and combination of time, fish appears, life appears. Transmutation of the field strengths in confirmation of the existence of the position is the reason for the creation of new life in these conditions. Where there has never been fish, fish appears, because the salinity of the water dictates the condition reflection of the RNA and DNA of the planet to create life in these waters. Now that the man becomes educated, can understand more and unravel what has been the mystery. You get a system, you create CO2 and the gans of it, and then the fields of it, you put it in a patch, and then you put it on your body, and it removes pain, or it reduces pain, or in the knowledge of the masters of this technology now, you can create or remove entities from the body or introduce to. So it's the same. The field transfer in comparison to what it is in condition of what you have created transfers the RNA, DNA and conformation of the new life. So in fact, if we can replicate every condition of this planet on another planet anywhere in this universe, we can replicate life the same as this, because here we have the atmosphere of the earth which replicates the fish. We are part of universal ocean of fields. In balance and strength, the same applies. In balance strength, we can replicate. There is a very big question. Was life ever transported onto this planet the same way? Are we a copy? Are we part of duplication? Maybe, but due to interaction of the fields of this planet, it has its own characteristics as well. It has its own dimensions as well. It has its own structure. We are all human, but if we are in part of the world, we become blue eyes and blonde hair, and the other we are black eyes and brown hairs, because the condition of the environment has dictated, not the entirety of the man. So this is important for us to understand. This is for us, just 1 second please. Yes, a little boy wants to be part of the teaching. Okay, come on, sit down. In this process, we have to understand, we have to be open-minded. We have to be clear enough about the totality of the knowledge, and not be restricted into what we think we cannot understand. If man stays open-minded, in a way be open to give from his soul even to his enemies, the enemies will change too. If you give the same to your friends, they change too. If you give to any environment unconditionally, they change too, if the intention of giving is to serve. And it's the same across this planet, across the universe. This is what, if you understand, you can receive the energy of a certain fields which is not available on this planet from another position in the universe. If you understand the absorption of energy from the space of the fields of the ocean of the plasmas of the universe. In the teaching last week, in a very open way, we explained that the soul of the man receives majority of his field from the depth of the universe, from the depth of the planet, of the higher strength of it. It's not that it absorbs very little. Anything which is at the strength of itself, it will absorb as it needs from the dimensions of the universe. It doesn't take the lowest, and it doesn't take the medium, or doesn't take higher than itself. It takes what it needs from the space of universe. It transfers that energy as a plasma into the dimension of the physicality, and then it leaves it to the brain of the man, or what we call the transition part of the life, for it to decide what this energy is going to manifest itself as an end product. As we said, it's like a dough. Once you made the dough, then you decide, is it going to be a cake, a bread, a cookie? Is it going to be an arm, a leg, and a liver? According to what is needed. Otherwise, it's the same dough. It's the same field, the strength from the soul of the man. This is what is, has to be understood by all of us. Then we become the scientist of the universe. No restriction, becoming physicist, chemist, biologist, plasma specialist, heart surgeon, or a farmer. Because we understand the operation of the soul right across the whole entire understanding. Now we understand the totality. Now we have to be open-minded to understand the totality. The point which we decide that's our limit, this is where we want to be, there is nothing wrong with it. It's the pleasure of the soul of the man to serve at that strength and that point. It is for all of us to understand. It's for all of us to be aware of the totality, but choose which part of it we want to be with, or work with, or function through. This is the key. This is the process we need to understand. So, in so many ways, even if I stop the talk today, you should have, must have, at least had an insight in how to feed yourself in space. You need a second entity to be able, by the confirmation of it, to be able to receive that you can give. In the mythology and into the history of the man, we call it Adam and Eve. By giving part of itself, as we say in the history of man, Adam created Eve. Not only to confirm the confirmation of his physicality, but to confirm he can love, which is giving, which confirms I exist. Adam did not create Eve for a physicality of life. Adam created Eve for confirmation of I exist. I can be a giver. By giving, I lead to the creation. To the creation of symbolic a woman, but in reality, confirmation of my own existence. That I can exist, but I need confirmation of my existence. I can love, but I need to have something to love. Something that can love me back to confirm I am a giver. In a way, the process of what we've hidden in the mysteries of whatever is in fact the story of life in space. Is what we call existence, what we call feeding oneself, that through feeding we need to feed another, that what is come to us becomes our food. As long as it's us, there will be no existence. As long as there is a lover for us to give to, we confirm our existence. I made man in the image of myself. I needed to create an image for me to love, that by loving it I can receive back life to confirm my existence. This becomes very clear how in a space we can create the condition of existence any point in the universe, because we receive the same field strength, but according to the condition of environment we find ourselves and our soul decides to appear itself, then we allow the field strength of that environment to be created, that leads to the confirmation of our existence. We are Adam anywhere in the universe. It's our destination, it's our wish to create what if at the point of destination of the manifestation. And this is the secret of life. It's the way you will exist in the space. No one dies in the space. Just because we have seen here on this planet, if we don't have air, we die. If you are not in the water, we die. We need to be a fish in the water. But in fact, if you live through the soul of the being, you can live in the water, you can live in the fish, you can live in the sea, you can live in the depth of the magma of this planet. Or you can live at the higher levels, hundreds of degrees below temperatures the man has made for himself. This is the beauty of us to understand the totality. And these teachings are for this purpose, to open the horizon of understanding and the fear of the man from what has become a fear, but it doesn't actually exist. If man leaves this planet through the existence of his soul, and understand that it's the soul which dictates its manifestation at any point in the universe, according to the fields which he releases in interaction with the field of the environment it likes to appear itself to, then man has become free. Man has become part of universal community, because the universe is one community. It's very much in a larger scale in the teachings that we have started. One nation, one planet, one soul, one universe is all the same. It's for the man to decide, would like to be a physicist, a chemist, biologist, a farmer, or a candlestick maker. Otherwise, in essence, all have souls, all exist, and they decide in what dimension they want to exist and manifest themselves as. Now you understand. Now you can see it's the soul of the man, once we understand it, that becomes the creation of the manifestation of the soul of the physicality, which in interaction with the field environment of the existence leads to the manifestation of the physical life in that environment. And sometimes you have part of which fits and the other part which does not. Then we'll see a mixture of the manifestations, which this become very, very frequent for the man of the space. We see entities with the creation of the soul we can feel, but the physicality It's not there. Or we see the physicality, but we cannot see the soul in the dimension which we are looking for. But in fact, if we look in another strength and dimension, we find life existence. Then we decide we want to match that, or we want to reach that level of our soul to be able to manifest ourselves at that level. What we call, we become the lover, and we change everything to fit that we match with our lover. Which means we become the givers. We give up and we give to the level that compared to them, we become manifest to them, but not necessarily to the others. Those of you who enter the dimension of GANs technology in the amino acid level, and then the fields beyond the amino acid level, you start feeling, you start seeing in a dimension, because now you feed the soul, you learn how to, and then you will see it, and you become interaction, and you will interact with new dimensions. For a lot of you, confirmation of the existence of the soul through the water and gans of the body of the man has been a problem, where we see when the egg and the sperm come together and create this, what we call the center, the essence. In the teachings of the past, we had this. Those who came as the masters and developed it, and then they could not understand it, but they had to wait for it, that's the right time for it to come. They have recorded it. Then what you see in these recordings of the teachings over the past 4 or 5 years is what now you can relate to. Creation of twin souls, what we call beautiful people. Creation of twin souls of us, one of our physicality and one of our total essence, and the interaction with each other.